All right, so we are going to work on a real world problem. So remember, this is the whole reason that we're learning everything that we are learning in regards to interest. So Alex is buying a car that costs $18,000. The tax rate is 7%, and he plans to make a down payment of $2,000. The sales tax is added to the price of the car before the down payment is made. He is considering a 5-year loan with a simple interest rate of 6.2% each year. What will be his monthly payment? So there's a few things that has to be done in order for us to find out how much his monthly payment is going to be. So the first thing we need to figure out is how much is the car? So we want to know the car price, okay? And then after we know the car price, then we need to figure out how much interest he is going to owe over time. And then the final piece is we're going to take all this information and then we're going to figure out his monthly payment. So this is 3 steps that we'll have to go through. All right. So let's start with step one. Let's find out what the price of the car is going to be. So we know that the car cost $18,000 and there's a sales tax of 7%. And he is going to make a down payment of $2,000, but the sales tax is added to the price before he makes the down payment. So, when we talk about a down payment, that means that that's money that he's going to give, so that he doesn't have to pay over time that extra 2,000. So that is considered to be his down payment. All right, so we've got our method that we have that we can figure out our percentage or our dollar amount for the percent in regards to the tax rate. So remember, I taught you guys the method where we can use our price times the percent amount. Well, it's in the percent form. And then you would divide that by 100. So remember that. And it will give you the dollar amount of the fee, tax, or whatever that may be. In this case, it's going to be the dollar amount of the tax. Okay. And then, so our second method that we have is we can convert our percent into its decimal equivalent and then multiply it by the decimal. And then you come out with the dollar amount for the tax. So I am going to use method two. That's my preferred method. But if you want, you can still leave it as a percent. You'll just have to go that extra step by dividing it afterwards. All right. So let's see. All right, so the price is going to be $18,000. That's how much he's required to pay so far. And then we're going to add on a 7% sales tax. So that 7% sales tax is going to be added. And 7%, all right, 7% is the same thing as saying 0.07. So remember, I just moved my decimal 2 places to give me that. So I'm going to multiply this by 0.07. And I have 18,000 times 0.07. So I have $1,260. So this is the tax dollar amount, $1,260. So this is our tax. All right, so remember, our taxes are added on to our original price. In this case, we're going to add that to the 18,000. So 18,000 plus the tax. All right, so we're at $19,260 for the car. Okay, so this is the price of the car. Now, the price of the car is going to be 19,260. All right, so now we're going to go and find out about how much interest is going to be owed. So that's where we're going to use our formula. Let's see. Our formula is going to be interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. All right, so our I is the interest, the P is the principal, R is the rate, and T is the time. All right, so we don't know how much interest we're going to owe. That's why the problem exists. Now we need to figure out what is our principal. And our principal is the $19,260. But wait a second. Remember, they mentioned that they were going to make a down payment. So remember, that means it's money that's going to be paid up front so that you don't owe it over time and don't have to pay interest on that money. So we're going to take out that $2,000 that they're going to pay up front. That leaves us with $17,260. So this is your principal amount. This is how much he needs to borrow. All right. So now that we have that, we're going to look for our rate. And our rate is going to be, 6.2%. So 6.2%. And we know that we can convert that into its decimal equivalent. And it's going to be 0.062. And remember, I also showed you guys on our calculator that we can also do it on here if you're still struggling on just moving the decimal. So if you punch in your numbers, hit the second button, and then the number 2. Remember, anytime you hit that second button, it activates any of the keys or functions that are above the key that you're pressing. So in this case, we're going to press the number 2, which has the percent sign on top of it. So it's going to convert it into its decimal equivalent, which is the same thing that we have here. All right. And then our principal, our rate, and our time. And he's going to borrow this money. How long was he going to borrow it for? 5 years. So he's considering a 5-year term. And let's look at the cycle as well. I don't think I looked at that. So the cycle, remember, it's 6.2% interest each year. So every year is a cycle. So how many of those yearly cycles does he need to borrow the money? And it is 5 years. So it's 5 cycles, which is where we get the 5. All right. Now what we need to do is go on and multiply all those together. So you have 17, that I is equal to your principal, which is 17,260, times your rate, which is 0.062, times your time, which is 5. All right. And so let's punch all of that in. So we've got 17,260 times 0.062 times 5, which gives me $5,350.60. So our interest is equal to $5,350.6. But remember, when we talk about dollars and cents, you need 2 decimal places or 2 digits after to the right of the decimal. So we're going to just add 1 0. Okay. So this is how much interest he is going to pay over that 5 years. Okay. So X, or I don't know why I put X. I usually use I for interest. So I is going to be $5,350.60, but we're still not done. So this is just how much interest he is going to pay. So how much is he going to pay altogether? Well, he's going to pay his principal amount, which is the amount that he's borrowing, $17,260, plus his $5,350.60. So let's see how much money he has to pay now. $17,260. So he's at $22,610.06. But remember, we need to add a 0 because we want dollars and cents. So this is how much money he's going to pay back by the time that he is finished. So what they're asking is, let's see, that's still not done. This is how much he's paying in total. We want to know, what is his monthly payment going to be? So this monthly payment, he's making a payment every month towards this balance. So let's think about those months. So we have 5 cycles, and we know that those 5 cycles are saying that it's on a yearly basis. So we know that there's 12 months in a year. Okay. So what we're saying is 5 cycles or 5 years times those 12 months, 12 months in a year. That means that there's a total of 60 payments that he has to make. So what we need to do is take his total amount that he needs to pay, $22,610.60, and we're going to divide that by 60. So this is going to give us equal payments, how much he will pay each payment for 60 payments. So we have the amount in here. We're just going to divide that by 60. So he is going to pay $376.8. There's more than 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So let me look at that third digit, and it's a 3. So I know that the 4 is going to stay there. Okay. So This is going to be his total payment that he would make each month. $376.84 is what's going to be due each month.